How do basal ganglia control movement in motor pathways? Imagine your brain as a busy control tower, managing countless signals to keep your movements smooth and coordinated. Today, we're going to uncover how a key part called the basal ganglia helps with that. The basal ganglia are a group of deep brain structures that act like gatekeepers for movement. They don't directly command muscles but influence how signals travel through your nervous system. They do this mainly through two pathways called the direct and indirect pathways. These pathways work together to decide which movements to start, continue, or stop. First, the basal ganglia get input from the cerebral cortex, which is the brain's outer layer that plans and initiates movements. The cortex sends signals to a part of the basal ganglia called the striatum. The striatum then processes these signals with help from dopamine, a chemical produced by a small brain area called the substantia nigra pars compacta. Dopamine makes some neurons more active and others less active, helping to fine-tune movement control. Now the direct pathway is like a green light for movement. When the striatum activates this pathway, it sends signals that inhibit two parts of the basal ganglia called the internal segment of the globus pallidus and the substantia nigra pars reticulata. These parts normally suppress the thalamus, a relay station that sends signals to the motor cortex. When they are inhibited, the thalamus is disinhibited, meaning it can send more signals to the motor cortex. This increased activity helps initiate and carry out the intended movement. In contrast, the indirect pathway acts like a brake. When activated, it inhibits another part of the basal ganglia called the external segment of the globus pallidus. This inhibition causes the subthalamic nucleus to become more active. The subthalamic nucleus then excites the internal globus pallidus and the substantia nigra pars reticulata, which increase their inhibition of the thalamus. This reduces signals to the motor cortex, preventing unwanted or excessive movements. There is also a third route called the hyperdirect pathway. It allows the cortex to send quick signals directly to the subthalamic nucleus. This pathway can rapidly activate the inhibitory parts of the basal ganglia to stop sudden or inappropriate movements. Altogether, these pathways help the basal ganglia act like a gatekeeper, deciding which movements are allowed and which are suppressed. They balance excitation and inhibition in the motor circuits, ensuring your movements are smooth and controlled. If these pathways don't work properly, movement problems can occur. For example, in Parkinson's disease, the system becomes over-inhibited, making it hard to start movements. In Huntington's disease, the system fails to suppress unwanted movements, leading to excessive, uncontrolled motions. So, the basal ganglia control movement by integrating signals from the brain's command center and adjusting the activity of the thalamus. This regulation influences the motor cortex and the spinal pathways that actually move your muscles. It's a complex but beautifully coordinated system that keeps your movements precise and purposeful.